One of the things that tortured me, and I mean really tortured me when I was 350 pounds, is why can I not stop eating? I want to stop eating. I hate how I look, but I have more food. If you're like this, you need to hear my story. I went from 350 pounds down to 150 pounds in 23 months. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I ate the way I did and how I stopped doing that. Hi, my name is Easter. Welcome to my channel. I think one of the most difficult parts about being 350 pounds and wanting not to be 350 pounds for me was the frustration of not understanding why I kept eating when I didn't want to eat so much and kept eating anyhow. I'd say to myself in the morning, okay, today's a new day. Today I'm not going to eat any junk. I'm not going to order any of those cookies. I'm not going to have a bowl of ice cream. Guaranteed I had those cookies. Guaranteed I had that ice cream. Guaranteed I had those bigger portions. So, how do you go from being 200 pounds overweight and losing that in 23 months and stopping the need and the craving and the strong desire, that pull to the food where it's screaming in your ear, oh, just a little bit of ice cream is going to make you feel so much better. Oh, I'm feeling terrible. Oh, I know. I'll go make a big bowl of popcorn. It's not like I say, I'll have popcorn, I'll feel better, but it's more like, oh, I'm just feeling so crappy. Oh, have a bowl of popcorn. As if it's filling in that void. Not that I was asking it to, but it did, and it just would come. It just would come on its own. Getting down to the why of why I was eating was more important than changing what I was eating because they had to go hand in hand. You can't go from somebody who has a lifelong problem of overeating to somebody who just says, well, I'm going to change what I eat, because you're only addressing the symptom. Your symptom is the food. If you're eating a lot and you have for a long time, and you call yourself somebody who comfort eats, and you call yourself somebody who emotionally eats, your problem is, why do you need comfort? Your problem is, what is going on with your emotions that's driving you to the food? These are the things that have to be addressed, as well as changing what you're eating, changing your lifestyle permanently. Newsflash, a diet is not going to work. I tried so many. I won't list them because I'm sure there's people who are successful with them. And I hear you talk about things that are working for you. They didn't work for me because I would do it temporarily. Then I'd say, oh, well, I've lost 20 pounds. And I'd start thinking, oh, I can have a little bit of whatever. I can have a little bit of this, because I was still seeking that comfort. I was still seeking that emotional reprieve from the turmoil that was going on inside my emotions. The day I realized I was eating because something was going on was the day that things were able to change for me. As soon as I recognized that my eating had nothing to do with eating too much and had everything to do with, why are you eating too much, was the day my life turned around. When I got to the bottom of why, I was able to get to the bottom of, hey, you don't need to do that. There's other strategies you can put in place. I talk about having a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit, even in the title of my channel, because they go hand in hand. If you are somebody who overeats and has for a long time, and you're not there just because you don't manage your food, you're there because you don't cope with the things that hurt inside. You don't cope with the things that stress you. You don't cope with the boredom, the loneliness, the sadness, the guilt, the shame, the burdens you carry, the regret and the remorse, and how freaking hard you are on yourself about all of the above, especially your weight. You're probably sitting there going, oh, everybody else can be a normal weight. What's wrong with me? Why am I like this? I wish I wasn't like this. I shouldn't be like this. I lost 60 pounds last year and I failed. I failed again. And I failed as a mother, and I failed as a, we beat ourselves up. I did it. I sat right here day after day, blaming myself for things that had happened 15, 20, 30 years before. How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is it even to beat myself up for 6 months or 5 months or whatever it is? We beat ourselves up and we live in regret, shame, remorse over and over again. And guess what? When you're feeling the pain of remorse, you're feeling the pain of guilt and shame, what do we do as eaters? We eat more. Bingo. It's a cycle. Do you see? Pain, shame, guilt, remorse. We eat. Then we feel guilty about eating. And then we focus on the guilt. And then along creep in shame, guilt, remorse with it. And I feel so terrible. And you find yourself wandering to the kitchen. The next thing you know, you've got a bag of chips in your hand and you're back on the other end of the cycle again, looking for some comfort. First of all, food is not comforting. Is it? I mean, I know you think it's going to be when you're wandering to the kitchen, but I want you to think about this. You have your food. It tastes good. It tastes satisfying, and you like it, and you think, okay, that's going to make me feel better. But what happens as soon as you're finished? Oh, I told myself I wasn't going to do that today. Or, oh man, that's another bag of chips I didn't want to have. Or if you're me, what are you doing? Why did you do that again? You're so dumb. Why? Why do you keep doing what you don't want to do? I was very hard on myself because I didn't understand. In all fairness, I had no clue as to why I kept going back and eating more when I didn't want to eat more. Earlier in my life, I'd also been an overeater, but I would starve myself for days after binging, or I would take laxatives after binging, and it was really unhealthy. It was a really toxic relationship with food. I've never been a person who can just sit and eat a normal meal and feel that's enough. If there's something I like a lot, I want more of it, and then I want more of it. And I never understood why other people didn't do that, but that's just me, and that's my eating problem. And if that's your eating problem, let's talk about some strategies that I used to get myself out of that. So the first thing I want to stress to you is that food is not your problem. Your problem is, why do you go to the food? Why do you keep doing what you don't want to do? That makes you feel terrible about doing it. If you can get to the bottom of these things step by step, slowly progressing through, each time you feel these impulses, each time you feel this obsessiveness to have something, take a minute, stop what you're doing, pause, take a deep breath. If you're me, say a quick prayer, and if you pray to whatever you believe in, and if you don't believe in anything, connect to that still small voice inside you. I know you have it. You don't have to be. You can be an atheist and still have that still small voice inside you. Connect with the voice. Connect with whatever you believe God is to you. Connect and pray for a minute, or meditate for a minute, or think deeply for a minute. Say, oh, what's going on? Why am I feeling like this? And ask that still small voice or God why you're feeling that way. Every time I got an answer. Every time something comes up and I'm feeling that agitation or that anger or that I'm just so sad today, I stop what I'm doing literally on the spot and I say a prayer and I think about it. And I'm usually shown, oh, Easter, you're really stressed about this situation going on. Bingo. Or, you know what? You're actually kind of angry that so-and-so is being really obnoxious today. Bingo. Or, I don't like what this person said, so I'm feeling really angry about it right now. Bingo. I get my answer. Then there's the next step to it. So you stop. You pray, meditate, or think. You get your answer. And then you need to say, okay, what am I going to do about this? Am I going to eat? No, because that's not what you want to do. We don't want to keep turning to the food. So this looks to me like making a phone call to somebody that supports me, whether it be friends, family, online support community, people that you have in your network that will support you through this type of feeling and walk you through it and help you through it. Or you could go to journaling. Journaling is huge for me. I've already journaled this morning and I've only been up for an hour. And I spent a good 20 minutes journaling. As I was putting my makeup on, I was dictating into my phone. Multitasker. I got this down pat. So I journaled for maybe 20 minutes to half an hour already this morning. And journaling is so powerful because you're taking this thought, oh, what's going on? And you're putting it out of yourself. Instead of stuffing it down your throat with food, you're actually releasing it. By praying, meditating, or thinking deeply, you're releasing it in faith to God or to your inner small voice or to whatever you believe in. It could be the light or the energy or the universe, or I don't care what you call it. It doesn't matter. As long as you give it to something and you ask for direction. Because if you keep it in here, it's just going to fester like a cancer and it doesn't stop growing. It doesn't stop becoming more powerful over time. It just keeps going and going and going. So you connect, you think and ask, what do I do about this? So like I said, journaling was one of my best. Another thing is to remove yourself from the situation. So maybe you're talking to someone that's really upsetting you and you see yourself getting really agitated and you're feeling really a little bit of anger rising up and you just feel that edge to get away. Say, can you excuse me for a minute, please? You don't have to explain yourself. Just kindly, politely, can you please excuse me for a minute, and walk away. If it's someone in your family, you can say, you know, I hear what you're saying and it's important to me, but the way you're saying it to me is really upsetting me, and maybe we can talk about changing your tone of voice. That's a whole other video on its own. But there's a healthy way to approach someone and say, can you please just change your tone of voice and calm down? We can talk about this as adults. And when you start to do that, you're setting boundaries, and boundaries are a really healthy thing to do. So if the boundary is set and they still can't work within your boundaries, say, I'm sorry, can you excuse me for a minute? I'll talk to you about this later on, but I need to go do something. And you very politely excuse yourself from whoever it is. So that might be your direction if it's specifically dealing with someone. Or maybe you're just feeling agitated and you don't understand why, and there's nobody around you. I guarantee you something's going on the inside. Try to identify that through journaling and prayer, meditation, or thinking. And then do something. Do something healthy. Like I said, journaling often. So I went through a really, really difficult period from July through to the beginning of September this year. And what I found worked for me really well is as soon as I started getting that, I can't deal with this feeling, I dealt with it anyways. And I forced myself to get up out of my room, out of my chair, or off my bed, out of the house, and I'd go for a really long walk. Or if I didn't feel like going out, I put the music on and just started dancing. Now, I know that sounds crazy because when I'm feeling agitated like that, I don't feel like dancing, but I'd listen to music, I'd let it start to get into me, and I would just start moving, and next thing you know, the music is taken over. I'm feeling bouncy, I'm feeling energetic, I see it working, and it works. It changes your inner atmosphere. You're taking yourself from a low, negative place that's weighing you down. You put the music on, you start to move, you're feeling a bit better, kind of trying to get into it. Then you start to really feel it, and it's like, yeah, okay, this is good. And then next thing you know, you're over here and you're bouncing to the music and you're feeling great, and that negative energy that you were carrying that made you so agitated and angry is now gone because you've released it in a healthy physical way. If you don't want to do something physical, turn to something mindful. Other than journaling, you can do any number of crafts or hobbies or anything to get your hands busy. I know this is kind of outlandish, but learn a language. If you are someone who likes learning, and I am, You can learn. It doesn't have to be a language. For me, it's languages because I love languages. Try learning. Listen to some podcasts about something you like. I go to the 101.com series and I work on languages, and immediately my mind shifts because although I was thinking about food, now it's like, oh yeah, what are they saying? I'm trying to understand it. Oh yeah, what was that word I learned last week? It not only works when you put the lesson on, but it also works when you're thinking through things through your day. I find myself, if I'm talking to the babies, for instance, my granddaughters, I will say to them a word and I think of that word in French, in English, in Greek, in Turkish. I go through every language. It plays in my head. So it's occupying space that otherwise might be empty and otherwise might be turning to food. Do you see how this can benefit you? And it's not just languages. Right now I'm taking a course in Java and I'm about a month in now. And up until this point, I was frustrated. But now the gears are starting to click and I'm starting to say, oh, so if I do this, then I can do that. And I do that because, and the logic is starting to play in my head a little bit. It's starting to dig in and I'm starting to think about it and dwell on it. And it's consuming space that could be consumed by negative thinking. So taking yourself into a healthy learning thought pattern in putting new information into your brain and your mind that you can dwell on and that are healthy for you to dwell on is freaking amazing. Other things you can do are positive affirmations. Now, I know that that doesn't sound like something that you might want to do when you don't feel good about yourself, but it's powerful. If you can think of things you like about yourself, like I used to think to myself, oh, well, my eyes at least look pretty today. I might say, put on something pink and pretty today. Another thing to do that is unorthodox, but surround yourself with things that make you happy. For me, pink was happy. So I wore pink all the time, literally. I have pink sheets, pink bedboard, pink cushions, pink, a lot of pink. My newer clothes are not all pink because I wore pink for years, but pink was my happy place. So if there's something that makes you really happy, surround yourself with it. Maybe for you it's flowers. Surround yourself with flowers. Surround yourself with the things you love because they make you happy and they get your mind off of the food, right? All these things are to get your mind away from the reasons that you go to the food. If you can fill your head with healthy things instead of turning to food, the journaling, the learning, the distracting yourself, the mindfulness, the food becomes less powerful. When you start to give this food yearning and calling and craving up to whatever you believe God is, or that inner small voice, and you pray about it or meditate about it or think deeply and purposely about it, you're dealing with it. You're not stuffing it down your throat anymore. Can you see how this will help you? It helped me lose 200 pounds, 10 pounds every month for months. Then I hit a plateau and I didn't lose any weight in a month, but that's okay because plateaus are a natural way of your body adjusting to a lot of weight loss. So I guess I'll leave it here. I think I've talked enough about emotional eating right now and why we do it. And I guarantee you, if you start dealing with the crap you have, things are going to change, and they're going to change for the better, and they're going to change fast, really fast. I know 23 months sounds like a lot of time to lose 200 pounds, but when I think about it, it's just a flash that's gone by so fast that I can barely keep up to it. And that's it. If you resonated with this, and you know that you're an emotional eater, and you know you're a comfort eater, and you know you don't know why you turn to food, but hey, that makes sense. Let me know in the comments. Tell me, that's me too, and I don't get it, but thanks for shedding the light. And I hope this blesses you and teaches you and gives you a little bit of wisdom so that you too can start your own weight loss journey and not only make it about weight loss, but make it about getting rid of the weight that's inside here, because that weight is really what's making you heavier. Then the food will not be as important. It's not going to call to you as loudly, and you're going to find success. Let's do this together. Hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you soon.